If there are three things that that I had to choose which positively made an impact on my life, one of the things would most definitely be investing. Getting into investing. When I was younger, let's say middle school, high school, I always heard the term investing. Like, oh, if I won $1 million, I invest half of it. I invest 70% of it. Oh, it's great to invest to make money. And I always heard the term invest. But I never knew what investing was. Like, how do you invest? What do you invest? Do you have to make an account to invest? Who do you talk to invest? And I knew none of that until last summer. That's when I discovered the stock market, and that's when I first made my first investment of a stock. That was one of the greatest decisions that I ever made in my life. My mentality before investing was, oh dude, like I'm way too late, I've already passed the boat, I've already passed the train, the time is gone. It's just too late for me to invest. Now looking back, dude, I'm only 23, I'm fucking young. I have assuming I live to 100 years old, I have 70 plus years left to invest. So I had absolutely no knowledge on how to invest, but there was an app on my iPhone called Robinhood. If you guys, for those of you who haven't heard or know what Robinhood is, it's basically a stock exchange app, and you can buy shares, sell shares without paying any fees. Obviously you pay taxes at the end of the year, but there's no transaction fees. And that interested me a lot because I wanted to get into the investing field. I wanted to trade stocks and make money here and there, but I always was very wary of fees because I'm not trying to pay fees all the time when I buy shares and sell shares. But Robinhood made it very easy for me to avoid that situation and just trade stocks without me applying or using any money for transfer fees. Last summer, last June, I believe, I bought my first ever share, or my first ever stock, and it was Chegg. Chegg is like a college, I'd say like a learning company. They sell books, you buy books, you can rent books online, you can look up tutorials to help you on homework. And to be honest, I just wanted to buy any share, any stock just to learn. I didn't care if I lost money, I didn't care if I made money. I just wanted to see what would happen if I bought this. And at that time, the first share that I bought was $13 by Chegg. And I just held on to it. I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And then the first couple days after buying the share, the stock was just going down. It went from 13 to $12.50 to 12. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? I'm already losing money. Dude, fuck this stock market shit. And then as the days went by and the weeks went by and the months went by, it would gradually just get bigger and bigger and bigger. It would rise. It wasn't a dramatic increase. It wasn't like $13 to $100, but it was like $13, and then it'd go back to $12.50, and then it would go back to $13.10. And then it'd go to $12.70, and it'd go to $13.50. But what I realized, the trend is that it just gradually gets bigger and bigger. The days go by, some days there's ups and some days there's downs, but the gradual pattern is that it just goes up. And when I saw this pattern after 2 months of holding on to that one share, I was like, dude, I'm gonna buy a couple more shares. And I bought, I think 10 more shares, and I just kept on holding it, and it just went up and up and up. And I was like, dude, yo, this thing is kind of fun. You can just buy shit like this and you just watch your money grow. And then when it came to, I believe $18, when I first bought it from 13, that's when I was like, dude, I'm gonna invest $1,000 into Chegg. And I invested $1,000, and I held on to it for a year. I sold it couple months ago. No, I sold it a couple weeks ago, I think, before the whole Chegg's security breach, when their stocks just plummeted. I held on to it until it was about $29, and then I sold it. And I invested $1,000, and I made another $1,000. So I made $1,000, $2,000 total. And that's when I was like, dude, yo, investing is like so important because you're making money, but it's like passive income. You know, you're just chilling and you're just seeing your money grow. Obviously, you have to choose the right stocks. You got to do your research. You shouldn't just buy any stock that people tell you, especially penny stocks. Do not buy penny stocks. But when I just saw that concept, you know, wow, like I could just put money here and my money will just grow. That changed my whole perspective of how to make money. You know, now I realize, like, dude, if you want to make a lot of money, you gotta know where to put your money, where to invest your funds. I think a place where there's a lot of potential is real estate. You know, real estate, I understand now why you can make a shit ton of money off real estate, but obviously right now my funds are heavily limited, so I'm just sticking to, you know, very cheap stocks. Not cheap, but, you know, stocks that are less than $2,000. But, you know, this concept of, you know, your money growing, compound interest, dude, compound interest was like a formula that I was taught in middle school, and I was like taught in these algebra classes, and I was always like, yo, like, fuck this formula, dude. Like, I'm not trying to memorize this formula for a fucking test. Like, fuck this shit. I remember I could never memorize the formula, so I would write it down on a piece of paper, like a small ass piece of paper, and then on test days, I would like take the paper out and like copy it so that I could memorize the formula for the test. And I didn't know what the fuck that was. But now, since I'm much older and getting into investing and more into money, I'm like, dude, compound interest? Yo, this shit is hella fucking important. Like, dude, compound interest is basically saying, dude, your money's just gonna double every year. Not double, but it's just gonna grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger every year, because that's what compound interest is. And when I understood that concept, I'm like, dude, investing is fucking important, dude. This is the foundation, this is the fundamental on how to grow your money, how to manage your money. If you invest properly, if you know how to invest, I think that you can be very, very wealthy in the long run. Another key point to understand about investing is that this is not a get rich scheme. You know, you don't just become rich off investing, you know, in one day. This is time. It's like delayed gratification. It takes time, it takes months, it takes years, but if you invest properly and you hold on to your investments carefully, dude, the chances of your business growing, or your stocks or your shares or your properties or whatever that you invested in, it will pay off greatly. That's when I realized, yo, if I didn't learn investing, if I learned the concept of investing, you know, in my 30s, in my 40s, in my 50s, dude, I would have regretted it hella fucking bad. Because this shit is important, dude. Investing is very, very important. If you want to be rich, if you want to make a lot of money, you have to learn investing for sure. If you don't, I mean, that's your choice, but dude, investing is, I think, is pretty fucking important.